I was talking with a dear friend the other day, a wonderful woman about your age, and she said something that really stuck with me. She said, you spend the first half of your life collecting things, friends, family, keepsakes, stories. And then, at a certain point, you realize the real art isn't in the collecting, but in the gentle, thoughtful editing. She told me she's reached a time in her life where her greatest luxury, her most valued possession, is her peace. Her quiet, private, personal peace. And I think so many of us, once we've crossed that beautiful threshold of 70 years young, start to feel exactly the same way. We've earned our stripes. We've navigated the ups and downs. We've loved, we've lost, we've built lives. And now, what we crave more than anything is to enjoy the fruits of all that labor in a state of calm and contentment. But sometimes, without even realizing it, we can let things slip that can disturb that very peace we're trying to protect. That's what I'd like to chat with you about today. We're going to talk about a few things, 9, to be exact, that are often better kept close to the vest after 70. This isn't about being secretive or mistrustful. Oh, no. It's about being wise. It's about protecting your energy, your privacy, and your overall well-being so you can focus on what truly brings you joy. Think of it as curating your inner circle of information, just like you might curate your home or your social calendar. So, let's settle in and have a good, honest conversation about the first few things it's wise to keep for yourself. The first thing, and this is a big one, is your financial picture. Now, I'm not just talking about the numbers in your bank account, though that's certainly part of it. I'm talking about the whole tapestry of your financial life, the details of your pension, the value of your home, the inheritance you plan to leave, the size of your stock portfolio, or even that little nest egg you have tucked away for a rainy day. It can be so tempting to share these details, can't it? Sometimes out of pride, sometimes out of a desire to connect, or sometimes just because it comes up in conversation. But here's the thing. When you share the specifics of your finances, you never quite know how that information will be received or what it might set in motion. It can, even with the best of people, create unintended feelings of jealousy or resentment. It might attract the wrong kind of attention from acquaintances who see an opportunity. And perhaps most importantly, it can shift the dynamics of your relationships with your own children or family. You want those relationships to be built on love and respect, not on any underlying expectations or assumptions about money. Your financial security is the foundation of your independence. By keeping the details private, you protect that foundation. You maintain control. You ensure that your choices about your money remain your choices, free from the opinions or influences of others. And this leads us so naturally into the second thing you should consider keeping to yourself, which is the full and detailed story of your family conflicts. We all have them. Every family has its disagreements, its old wounds, its little dramas playing out in the background. Maybe it's a rift between your children, a disagreement you had with a sibling decades ago that still simmers, or your concerns about a grandchild's life choices. These stories are heavy, aren't they? They carry a lot of emotional weight. Sharing these intimate conflicts with friends or even with other family members might feel like a relief in the moment, a chance to get it off your chest. But in the long run, it often does more harm than good. You see, when you tell someone else about a family dispute, you're not just sharing a story, you're asking them to carry a piece of that burden, and you're also inviting their judgment. They will, quite naturally, form opinions about the people you're talking about, the very people you love. This can color their perception of your family forever. It can also create sides, where no sides needed to be. And very often, these things have a way of getting back to the people involved, causing even more pain and complicating any chance of reconciliation. Your family stories are sacred. They are your history. By holding them within the family, or even just within your own heart, you contain the issue and give yourself the space to heal or resolve it without the added pressure of outside opinions. It protects your peace, and it protects the peace of those you love most. Now, let's talk about something a little different, but just as important, your personal health struggles. This one requires a bit of nuance, of course. I would never suggest you shouldn't confide in a trusted loved one or your spouse about a serious health issue. Support is crucial, but I am talking about broadcasting the details of every ache, pain, diagnosis, or medical procedure to a wide audience. There's a funny thing that happens when we focus too much on talking about our ailments. It can, without us meaning it to, become a central part of our identity in the eyes of others. Instead of being John, the wonderful painter and great storyteller, you can become John, the man with the bad back and heart problems. More than that, constantly verbalizing your health problems can make them feel bigger and more overwhelming in your own mind. It keeps your focus on what's wrong, rather than on what's still right and wonderful. Protecting your peace means protecting your spirit. And your spirit thrives on hope, positivity, and a focus on your capabilities. This doesn't mean you should suffer in silence. It just means being selective. Share with a chosen few who you know will offer genuine support and positivity, not just sympathy that brings you down. Your health journey is a private matter between you and your doctor and your very closest confidants. Everyone else? They don't need the details. Let them see your strength, not just your vulnerabilities. These first three things, our finances, our family conflicts, and our health, are like the pillars of our private world. And as we've seen, being a little more guarded with them isn't about shutting people out, it's about building stronger, higher walls around the garden of your peace, so that what grows inside is protected and can flourish. And there are a few more pillars we should look at, which we will, right after this. It's interesting, isn't it, how these first three things we talked about, our finances, our family stories, and our health, are so deeply woven into the fabric of who we are. They're the big, weighty chapters of our lives. But you know, sometimes it's the smaller, quieter habits, the ones we don't even think twice about, that can have just as much impact on our daily peace of mind. The things we share without a second thought, simply because they feel so ordinary. That brings me to the fourth thing it's wise to be a little more private about, and that's your daily routines and rituals. Now, I can just imagine what you might be thinking. My routine? What's so special about my morning cup of tea or my afternoon walk? Well, on the surface, not much. But your routine is more than just a schedule, it's the gentle rhythm that guides your days. It's your personal time, your sacred space. When you share the intricate details of this rhythm with everyone, what time you always take your walk, when you do your grocery shopping, that you always have a quiet house between 1 and 3 in the afternoon for your nap, you are, without meaning to, opening a window into your private world. This isn't about being paranoid, not at all. It's about preserving your autonomy. If everyone knows your schedule, it becomes very easy for well-meaning friends or family to pop in unannounced, or for phone calls to interrupt your precious quiet time. Before you know it, that peaceful structure you've built for yourself starts to get chipped away. Your routine is your sanctuary. It's what allows you to have energy for others when you choose to. By keeping the specifics a little closer to your chest, you maintain the freedom to be spontaneous, to change your mind, and, most importantly, to protect those non-negotiable moments of solitude that recharge your spirit. Your time is your most valuable asset, your routine is how you invest it wisely, and that's a personal matter. Now, this idea of protecting our time and our peace leads us beautifully to the fifth point, which is about your personal regrets and past mistakes. We all have them. Pages in our life's book that we might wish we could rewrite. A career path not taken, a harsh word spoken to a loved one, a decision made from fear instead of courage. These memories can carry a heavy weight, and there's a natural human desire to unburden ourselves by sharing them. But here's where we must be so very gentle with ourselves. Constantly revisiting and recounting our old regrets to others does something interesting. It keeps those regrets alive and gives them power over our present moment. You are not the person you were 20, 30, or 50 years ago. You have grown, you have learned, you have wisdom now that younger you didn't possess. When you tell your story of regret, you are often telling it from the perspective of that younger, less experienced version of yourself, and you inadvertently lock yourself into that old narrative. Forgiveness, whether it's for yourself or for someone else, is an inside job. It happens in the quiet of your own heart. Sharing the story far and wide can sometimes be a way of seeking external validation for our pain, but true healing comes from within. Let those old chapters rest. You don't need to define yourself by your stumbles. You are defined by the fact that you got back up, that you kept going, that you became the wonderful, resilient person you are today. By choosing not to share these old wounds widely, you are not hiding them, you are simply choosing to stop giving them airtime. You are allowing them to fade, making more room for the peace and contentment of the present. And you know, the present moment is a beautiful place to be, especially when we're talking about the sixth thing to be mindful of, which is your spiritual or political beliefs. Now, this is a tender one. Our beliefs, whether they are about faith, politics, or the meaning of life, are core to our identity. They've been shaped by a lifetime of experiences. It feels natural, even important, to share what we hold dear. But after 70, I've found that the need to convince, to debate, or to publicly declare these deeply personal beliefs often diminishes. And for good reason. These topics are, by their very nature, deeply personal and often divisive. Sharing them openly, especially in mixed company, is less about connection and more about inviting conflict. And conflict, as we know, is the very opposite of peace. This isn't about compromising your values. Not one bit. It's about choosing your battles and, more importantly, choosing your peace. You can hold your beliefs firmly and quietly in your heart. You can live your values through your actions, through your kindness, your generosity, your integrity. You don't need to win an argument or convert anyone to your way of thinking to validate your own truth. By keeping the finer points of your spiritual or political views private in casual settings, you shield yourself from unnecessary stress and agitation. You preserve your energy for the conversations that truly matter, the ones that build bridges, not walls. You attract people who share your values through the light you emit, not the arguments you win. So, we've now covered our routines, our past regrets, and our deeply held beliefs. It's quite a list already, isn't it? And it all comes back to that same, simple idea that your inner world is a sacred garden. The less you let the outside winds blow through it unchecked, the more beautifully everything inside can grow. And there are just a few more things we should touch on to make sure the garden is fully protected, which we will, in just a moment. You know, as we've been talking, it occurs to me that this isn't really about building walls, is it? It's more about tending to your own garden. It's about knowing which seeds to plant, which to nurture, and which ones might be better left in the packet. We've talked about protecting our financial peace, our family stories, our health, our daily routines, our past regrets, and our deeply held beliefs. These are the foundations. But a peaceful life is also made up of the small, daily choices we make about what we share in our conversations and in our hearts. This brings me to the seventh thing, which is your charitable giving or volunteer work. Now, this might seem counterintuitive. We often hear about people sharing their philanthropy, and it can feel like a natural thing to talk about a cause you're passionate about. But there is a profound and quiet power in keeping your acts of kindness a private matter. When you give, whether it's your time, your money, or a simple act of service, and you tell no one, something magical happens. The act becomes pure. It's not done for recognition, for a thank you, or to be seen in a certain light. It is done for its own sake, and that feeling, that quiet hum of goodness that stays right inside your own heart, is one of the most nourishing feelings there is. Announcing your good deeds can, even with the best intentions, shift the focus from the act itself to you as the person performing it. It can invite judgment or even requests that you may not be comfortable fulfilling. But when you keep it to yourself, the joy is undiluted. It becomes a beautiful secret between you and your own conscience, a direct deposit into your own account of inner peace. Let your left hand not know what your right hand is doing, as the old saying goes. The reward is in the doing, not in the telling. Now, closely tied to this is the eighth item, which is your family members' personal problems. We touched on your own past regrets, but this is about the present-day challenges of those you love. Your adult child going through a divorce. Your grandchild struggling in school. Your nephew having financial difficulties. As a parent, a grandparent, a loving relative, your first instinct is often to worry, to talk, to try and fix it. And sometimes, that talking turns into sharing these concerns with others outside the family. But when we share our loved ones' problems, we are sharing something that is not entirely ours to share. We are telling someone else's story, and in doing so, we can unintentionally embarrass them or betray their trust. It also creates a ripple of worry that extends far beyond the situation. You carry the burden, and then the person you told carries a little piece of it, and so on. By choosing not to be the broadcaster for your family's challenges, you do two wonderful things. You respect their privacy and their ability to handle their own lives, and you free up an enormous amount of your own mental and emotional energy. You can still be a supportive, listening ear for them directly, without taking their problem and making it a topic of conversation with others. It's a way of loving them that also protects your own serene state of mind. And this finally brings us to the ninth and last thing, which is perhaps the most personal of all, your fears and anxieties about the future. It's only natural to have them, isn't it? Thoughts about our health declining, worries about becoming a burden, or anxieties about the world we're leaving for our grandchildren. These fears can feel very large in the quiet of the night. But giving them a voice, sharing them widely, is like watering a weed. It makes them grow. When you repeatedly talk about your fears, you are reinforcing those neural pathways in your brain, convincing yourself that the worst-case scenario is not just a possibility, but a probability. It also places a heavy emotional burden on the people you tell. Of course, this doesn't mean you should bottle everything up. The key is to be incredibly selective. Confide in one or two absolutely trusted, positive-minded people, a spouse, a lifelong friend, a spiritual advisor, who can listen with empathy and then help you refocus on hope, on solutions, on faith. But broadcasting these deep-seated fears to a wider audience rarely brings comfort. Instead, it often amplifies the anxiety. Protecting your peace means actively curating the thoughts you give power to through your speech. Choose to give voice to your hopes, your gratitudes, and your joys, and watch how those things, in turn, begin to flourish. So, there we have them. 9 things to gently hold a little closer after 70. From our finances to our deepest fears, it all circles back to the beautiful, simple idea my friend shared at the beginning, the art of thoughtful editing. This isn't about becoming closed off or secretive. It's about becoming more discerning. It's about understanding that your energy, your attention, and your inner peace are your most precious resources, and you have every right, you've earned the right, to protect them. Think of it as creating a beautiful, quiet space for yourself. A space where you are not defined by your past, your ailments, or your bank account, but by the peace and wisdom you carry within you right now. Small shifts in what you choose to share can make a world of difference in how you feel each and every day. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What resonates with you? Have you found that being a little more private about certain things has brought you more peace? Please share your experiences in the comments below. Your wisdom is a gift to all of us. If this conversation felt helpful, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more chats like this, designed to help us all live our very best lives in these wonderful years. Remember, you have spent a lifetime gathering wisdom. Now is the time to enjoy it, to savor the quiet moments, and to live with a heart full of peace. You've earned this. Here's to your peace, your privacy, and your well-being.